Hello, everybody. Since I see the chat's working and we're making soccer jokes, I think it's time to interrupt the starting screen. Um, so just welcome everybody to the recipe hacking number 2. I am super excited to be doing this. I'm getting better at this as time goes on. You can tell I'm now official because I have a RGB microphone. Yep, that's right. Total gamer vibes going on over here. So your best way to interact with us is definitely going to be the chat. So I hope to see that being used more this time, especially since it's working. Lori, did I miss anything this time around? Let's see if he introduces himself. Ooh. So I am Christopher. I'm the Conan developer advocate. I think most of you from the chat list already know that. I'm the developer advocate, which means my job is to promote Conan more or less. But the best part about my job is I get to work with you guys. So if you are in our community Slack channel, if you hit us up on Twitter, GitHub, I am always there, and it's super easy to get a hold of me like that. All right. So before we begin, there's a couple things of housekeeping I want to get out of the way. A handful of you had sent me emails suggesting like, oh, this could be better, that could be better, this didn't work. Thank you so much for that advice. I'm a programmer, not a marketing guy. I have no clue what the heck I'm doing. I get invited to QBRs to talk about SLAs and BDRs and I don't know what other acronyms. So knowing how things work on your side of the screen makes my job a lot easier. So thank you so much. Apparently when there's Q&A questions, I have to actually like click answer for it to pop up for you guys. I didn't know that. So shout out to Mark Final. I don't think I answered your email personally, but just wanted to say thank you for those. Today, we are going to be working on reviewing some pull requests. I haven't looked at which ones are open or up, but we're going to go take a peek at those. And then we're going to try to do a CMake example. So for those of you who weren't with us last time, we had tried to work on a header only one, but unfortunately we ran out of time and didn't get them all done. So that's going to be super fun. See if I can move myself out of the way. Pull requests. Does anybody have a pull request open that they would like to have roasted live? No one wants to volunteer his tributes. No, just a couple of smiley faces. Yeah, it's definitely a trap. So if I click on CMake, get a little bit of a filter going on these. Let's do not failed. That'll definitely help.
Chris, can you make sure that you increase the size of your screen so people can see? It looks like, is that better, everyone? Just go ahead and throw it up in the chat.
All right. The res is indeed low. Oh, that's unfortunate. I have it set to 1080p. So hopefully if you're running on 1080p, it should look normal. If you're on a 4K screen, I apologize. I haven't upgraded yet. So we have a couple of handful of choices. Some of them are pretty recent, some of them less so. This is just an option. Min audio support Conan V2. Oof. And then we also have Geotrans as an option. Oh, this is a CMake one. This is going to be a good example. All right, so for those of you who haven't been following, we are going to be doing GA for Conan 2.0 in the coming months. My personal guesstimate has been like February, March-ish timeline. We have under issues, pinned issues, Conan 2.0 migration effort. So the client work has been pretty stable for a little while. And one of the only things that's missing is really having ConanCenter being ready to back it up. So when people switch to Conan 2.0, they're going to expect their recipes that they're already using to just work. We've already been getting issues on GitHub about people asking like, oh, I installed Speedlog and it didn't work on Conan 2.0. So I've been trying to keep track of them, and you can see all like the different pull requests that have gone into making these ones work. And the green just means it should work. But my definition of should work is probably going to be head of develop for Conan 2 and not actually one of the betas. I've been living and dying on master. So Min Audio, I have no idea what this project is. So let's go learn it here together. It seems like this one doesn't have build scripts since we have our own CMake list.txt. So the first change I always look for when I'm reviewing these pull requests is the imports. So in Conan 2.0, there's no more little s over here. So those are gone. So most of these are now looks correct to me. Required version is 153. That's the latest we have in ConanCenter. The attributes got rearranged. The settings are all there. Min audio. We usually don't have the library name. Let's just put audio. The library name in the topics. All right. I can get rid of myself very easily. I unfortunately cannot change the bitrate. All right. Let's see if we can. Oh, it's because Zoom doesn't have me pinned. Is that the problem? How about this? Is this better for everybody? Not too much of a response. Doesn't seem like it's going to be much better for you guys then.
Awesome, Chris. Let's keep going because it looks like everybody's seeing things a lot better now.
Woohoo! All right, so thank you for going through our technical issues, but at least you guys were able to tell me this time, which is even better. So sweet. So topics, not really a Conan 2.0 thing, just a ConanCenter specific thing. It helps us understanding the search. Oh, so these properties are gone, and that's perfect. So In Conan 2.0, one of the new improvements we're going to be adding is something called layouts. And these are super helpful because they improve how editable mode, God, that's a hard word to say, editable, how editable mode, oh, God, that's terrible. How editable, I'm going to move on, word works. And so these are now replaced. And if we scroll down a smidge, we should see a layout being added, which is perfect. So this layout now will set up the source and build folder, generator folders, and a bunch of other stuff. Thank you guys for the support in the chat. And these are no longer required with the new layouts. So thankfully, a little bit of code cleanup gets to happen along the way. Our exports, it's now using the new copy tool instead of the self copy. So the self Conan file object will no longer have the file copper. What should we put for the source parameter? Oh, perfect. By convention in ConanCenter, we always put source. This generally happens to work out for most projects. However, some projects actually have the source code in a subfolder and expect that. So you might see something different depending on the project. I don't know if I can quickly go to min audio. Oh, I should see it in the build scripts. I don't even know where their source code is. Awesome. All right, that's not very helpful. We also have Q&A. Where are my Zoom controls? Oh, Lori, I was answering it. It's a header only lib. Yes. Which raises the question, why is this project specifically adding a min audio.c file? It should be header only. Right. So, and this project supports both. So it has an option already for being header only, and it knows how to do either header only or build something with CMake. So I'm assuming there's some support file that they also ship that people can use to help with. Given that was already the case for this recipe, I'm not really gonna. Yeah, thank you, William, for the expertise on this one. This is definitely more of a common library, and it shows I'm not really much of an audio guy, so I'm not too familiar with it. So we are now using the copy helper instead of the attribute or method. It's no longer going to be under the Conan file objects. You're going to specifically have to use the tool every time. And this has a couple of caveats. So like you have to specify the source location and the destination. It doesn't like auto guess as much as it used to. Some new options handling stuff. You can see here we're doing RM safe. This will make it a lot easier. So in Conan 1.x, if you deleted something that was already missing, it wouldn't complain. In 2.0, it's one of the small nuanced things, but it will. So if you try to delete an option twice in Conan 2.0, it doesn't work, whereas it did in 1.x, which should make more sense. What if I use the variable export sources and not the method export sources? Ooh, I don't know how the attribute works, but I would expect it to be exactly the same. Yeah, so in this specific case, the reason we need to do RM safe is because not all of the compilers have these specific settings. So like libcxx is only specific to like the GNU and Clang compilers that you'd see on Linux, but not necessarily the ones for Windows. So that's why it has to be here like this, whereas before we didn't particularly care. So the get sources, pretty much the same, hasn't changed, thankfully. That one's easy. Now we get into one of our new guys. So we have the generate methods. So alongside of our layouts, we're also having a dedicated generate method. And you can see this as like a pre-configuration kind of step. That's mentally how I keep track of it. So we used to have to set CMake definitions in a special configure at build time. So in our build method, we used to call CMake configure. Now we're preparing a toolchain, and that's what this generate method here is doing. So header only, we do nothing. That makes sense. Otherwise, we have to set the variable, and min audio source directory is the source folder replace. Seems legit to me. Again, because of our layout is specifically setting the source folder here, we're telling min audio where that is as well. I guess that's just a detail of this project in particular. We also have a version string. I guess that's how they inject the information in with CMake. And our build method, it's using the CMake build helper. It's doing configure. And this is the parent of the source directory. Does that make sense? Yes. So we put the sources into a subfolder with our layout, and our export sources would technically be above it. So that makes sense. That's the default layout. In package, we have our copy helper, and this here has destination before source, which always drives me nuts personally. Gripes. And then all the copies look good. They're all the same. And then we do CMake install in the other case, which I'm assuming gives us a lib. And then we have a shared define as well. So those pretty much cover most of the changes for CMake projects. Is the layout method mandatory with Conan 2.0? Yes. If you don't specify one, you're going to have like a default layout, but it'll always be working with a layout if I'm not mistaken. So the next step for us is going to be moving into our test packages. So you can notice we have in GitHub's little file explorer view, we have test package and test v1 package. So in ConanCenter, because we're doing the migration and we need to simultaneously support both, we are making sure the old generators work. So the original test package here, so if we have our generators being like CMake find multi, the v1 is exactly the same. So this is really just a move of those two files. And thank you, Diego, for answering in the chat. And in our v1 CMake list, we just add subdirectory of the other test package. And our Conan v2 test package has a few extras. So settings are the same, but we're now using new generators. The virtual run environment generator, this one is required for Conan 1.x, but not 2.0. In 2.0, by default, this will run, and there's a configure option you can go flip on for 1.x. We have our test type being explicit. One of the more robust things that you have to do now is explicitly add your requirement to your self-tested reference string. I'm not sure why, but it's just there. It's just a truth that I've accepted in my life. We have our layout, of course, since these are going to be required for 2.0. We have the build, which is exactly the same. And we have a new helper can run. And because we're using a layout, we can now specify the build directories from our build info, and this will make it a lot easier. And the run environment, right? So we have Conan run, which is our virtual run env. So this is how we connect the two together in 1.x. Boom, that's it. Easy peasies. Now, let's say we wanted to go and do this ourselves. How hard would it be? I don't think there's any good CMake ones that haven't been done. Oof. So we're gonna have to go find one. And if I go a big dot and I open up GitHub dev, we can go search for one. Does anybody have a project they would like to see updated if they know it hasn't been? Boost, no. I'm gonna kick you out of the meeting, unfortunately for you. There's actually a boost PR that's open. So shout out to Space for working on that one. This guy. I'm gonna look for that. And we're going to exclude our something v1 something. Of course, this gives us plenty of good options to choose from. Century brake pad. All right. Let's go take a look at it. We don't want to look at docs. We want to do Century brake pad. Looks like it hasn't been updated. It's using CMake. There's nothing. Ooh, file paths. All right. Hopefully the patches don't change. All right, guys, this is going to be a fun one. So apparently it's doing some weird stuff with CMake. Oof. All right, let's go for it. No good way to suffer. Let's pull that. Oops. Spelling is optional in this life. Maybe Century Native is easier. Okay. Oh, definitely not, because this requires the other ones. Maybe Century Crashpad. Does anybody like that one as a good choice as well? Martin's already updated the Crashpad one. All right. So we have a question from Patrick. Will all the generators of other build systems except CMake from 1.x still be supported with Conan 2.0? Example, CMake. I don't know. I definitely know that there are some that are missing. Off the top of my head, I know CMake is missing. But please open an issue. So like, as Diego said, lack of demand. Sometimes we don't get issues until after the fact, and that doesn't help us. So we would love for you guys to like open issues and say, hey, I would really like this support in Conan 2.0. So if you try it out and you see it's missing, let us know. That's the only way we can figure out which one's working. CMake is coming in 155. 155 dropped, I think. I'm on Conan 155, so it's already out. Look at that. Oof. I've clearly been busy not following.
It is today. The changelog has not been updated, but the 155 is today.
Oh, look at that. So you guys are the first to know since the changelog hasn't even dropped. That's sweet. Thank you, Diego. So let's open up. So recipes, and we're gonna do century. Boom. This should have taken us to the same place. Oh yeah, most definitely. So, what kind of versions do we have over here? We'll do the latest because that's always easiest. So let's make sure everything works. Conan create. Paste that. Slash. I think I need an all in there somewhere. At sign. Missing packages. That's all right. I don't know what settings I'm running. No. Well, that's not helpful. Yes. Does anybody else play Jeopardy music when they're waiting for things to compile? That's my usual go-to. Whoa, hooks don't work. All right. And what's failing over here? That's an older package. Whoops. All right, so let's not look at that today and just go disable that. So we go to docs and then we can go to developing recipes. GitHub. Thank you. And then there should be Conan book error. And we'll just change that to be off. All righty. Anybody familiar with this recipe know why this particular error occurs? I have Never actually seen this one. It's on match. Those are default settings.
That message happens when you have a remote, you install the package from the remote, the sources were not downloaded from the remote, then you remove the remote. And then at some point you need those sources and Conan doesn't know how to get them again. So you probably need to wipe the package conf. Yeah, it is possible that you install from another repo or something.
Probably. It would be like me to use my super frog.
Yeah, try to remove the package history again.
Oh. Checking module break path. All right, we got farther. Thank you, Diego. That was exactly the thing that we needed to do. But it doesn't build. CMake list number 8. All right. Unfortunately, this might not be the easiest example to do in 20 minutes. Alrighty. I'm sorry, Martin. It doesn't seem like this one's yes, I'm just showing off obscure errors. I know. I'm an absolute pro on this one. And we go back to our search. Pick an easy one. Approval test. What's this one? AAF. All right, I think I'm going to switch just because of time. But it means we have time to sip some coffee. So it definitely looks like we're off to a good start because it's actually building. So we're definitely on a good track. So I wrote this recipe. Oh, that's why. Martin wrote it. What's my hardware? It goes pretty fast. I have an AMD Ryzen 5700. I'm actually running in WSL, so I would expect this to be really slow. Yeah, I only have 12 cores, so not too many. How do you quit F10? Hitting buttons. All right, so the builds. So we're off to a good start. That means we can actually start working on some of these things and fixing them up. So we already have one new import, which is great. So we're gonna just move these down. This should be Conan. That I can get rid of. And those are gone. And then we can do from Conan tools dot CMake import CMake toolchain. There's definitely requirements. So we're gonna go and just right away add CMake depths, and we're gonna need a CMake layout. The other thing we're gonna need is Conan tools files imports, and I'll put get and copy, because what kind of recipe would it be if it didn't do at least those? Name, URL, homepage, all of these look good. We don't need this inside, because that is the the name of the library, and it doesn't help in the searching on ConanCenter for topics. And export sources, we're going to move that one right away. We'll just stick it somewhere. Export sources, put my little self in there. And we can do copy self. And then we have os dot. Oh, why am I writing this? Let's just go steal this from somebody else who already did it before me. Export sources. Here we go. We need to copy from the recipe folder to export source folder. That's perfect. And then we're also going to need export patches. Export Conan data patches. And pretty sure this goes in the export method. It makes sense you would export that in the export method. Remove the S on export sources. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we need a Conan minimum version. If I go back to our min audio example, I will just politely steal that. If I know where I'm going, which I usually don't because I'm pretty lost in life. All right. I think we're off to a start. CMake text list is no longer needed. Yeah. Delete. All right. We're even better. Even better. So the reason we used to need that is because we needed to do that weird import stuff. Come on, there you go. If I reload. All right. In the old one, we used to have to do this like include CMake build info and then call like an actual function. With the tool chains, we no longer need to do that. So for the most part, min audio here is an exception. You don't actually need to include this file because we're not actually doing anything anymore. And the add subdirectory that used to be in the old one, the add subdirectory, oh, it's a little small, is it not? No one wanted to shout me out for my text size. The add subdirectory is no longer required. So this doesn't exist because of our layout. So I can go here and I already deleted those subfolder properties. Our next up in attributes, we got generators. We're gonna murder those. And then we have export sources are good, requirements are good, validate. And then we have source. This one we can update. We can get rid of that. Pretty sure this needs a self in front. And this is source folder. There's no more subfolders. And we need a CMake build helper over here. And now we can start worrying about some of our other methods. So we need a layout. Yeah. Layouts. Ooh, DEF LO. No, that's not how you spell layout. LAYOUT. I got it. I got it. I got it. I wonder why sometimes they pay me money. It's a good thing that my boss isn't here. Just some of my other bosses, but that's okay. Don't tell Peter on me. And then we do CMake layout. So this is a pretty easy one. There's no header only option like we saw with Min Audio. So we just have to add the CMake one. Apparently this doesn't support ARM. That's okay. I don't have an ARM system to test on today. Source validate build, and then we're going to do generate self. And we're going to steal all these definitions. That. Let's stick that over here. ARM must be avenged. Ooh, self-info settings. Yes. Oh, good call. Good call, William. So one of the things that we're adding in Conan 2.0 is something called the compatibility .py plugin extension. And this will allow you to find binary packages that are binary. So this will give us some advantages later on. I did go over this a little bit in my meeting C++, if you want to go watch that on YouTube. But for now, all you need to know is this is compiled, so we get to very easily just do self-info settings. And that's the magic sauce on that one. You can imagine that self settings are the actual build profile for that graph, whereas the info settings are the compatibility settings that are being used. And that generates, and then we got the tool chain we need to add.
Actually, Chris, I think did you upgrade to 155 already?
Yes.
Validate should be good with self settings. We changed that to get a smoother transition from 1 to 2. And in theory, both validate and validate build methods will be running with self settings and self options from now on. Okay, so if you put self settings, I think it should be okay if you upgrade to 155.
I'm trying to rewind in my head. So the reason this was important in 153, so if you're still pushing PRs to ConanCenter, on header only packages, to make it header only, you had to do self info clear, and then there would be no settings, and then header only would have a problem.
That has changed.
Yes.
We swapped the order of validation between validate and package ID. So the removal of self.info doesn't affect. So yeah, so in theory, you could perfectly use self settings in validate. That's the idea.
All right, now let's update this then. No point in doing it the old way from yesterday, colleague.
Yeah, no, we are sorry about that. We have been struggling to find like a smooth transition path from 1 to 2 regarding the validate implementation. So that these self-info settings in validate was a proposal from a few releases ago. And it happened that we were not able to find a sweet path for the upgrade. So we decided to try another thing, and now we are settling down on using self settings, both in Conan 1 and Conan 2. We'll use self settings in the validate methods in both validate and validate build.
So will the self info settings go away?
It's only for package ID. Only for manipulating the package ID in the package ID method should be used as self info.
Perfect. Now we have to go update everybody on that one, but that's not too bad. For
most of the things will work. Okay, it's not that it will break using self info, but in theory, to be future proof and be good, totally good, is better to use self settings.
Perfect. No, that makes total sense. It's a lot easier to remember. It's the way that we originally learned. So that's easy. Thank you for those extra details. It makes it a lot easier to for everybody to understand. Toolchain. We need this guy. Select, and then we'll stick it over here. Now, our tools imports, in ConanCenter, we usually don't add this one directly. So I need to add the import for this. I'll just steal that one. I'm assuming this is an Apple. All right, that makes sense. Apple stuff is in the Apple import. And then import is Apple OS. There we go. God bless autocomplete. And then instead of CMake here, we can do Control H and we can do TC because we're doing our tool chain. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Easy peasies. And then these should be variables. And I don't know how to spell the word variable, so I'm just going to go copy that. And we're going to stick that in there. And we're going to do, oh, there's only 5 of them. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. You can copy from template CMake too. Oh, yes. Okay. So this is definitely worth a detour. For those of you who don't know, inside ConanCenter docs, we now have package templates. And these are the best thing since sliced bread. So you can just copy paste and start with whatever you should do. You can see most of these were updated in the last month. So we definitely need to update these now for 155 apparently. So these we work very hard to keep up to date. And this is like our holy Bible of ConanCenter index recipes and how to write them. We try our best to keep them in here. If a tool chain is not here, feel free to open a pull request. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. We would really appreciate it. So I'm using a other pull request as a reference point, but you should definitely probably be using the package templates if you're really smart and well informed. I'm definitely maybe kind of might be one of those, but not all of them. Our build method. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. I did not add our generate calls. I'm looking at the wrong thing. So we have to actually call generate on these, which is definitely a thing. If you're like me, you'll probably forget a few times. And we also have dependencies. So we're going to do deps equal CMake deps, and then we pass self. All the generators work like that. And then we just do deps dot generate. So William, see, it shows that I'm the developer advocate and William's the real developer, because apparently I also made another mistake. We have here in our generate method is Apple OS. So previously we were passing in just the OS, but this doesn't have all the information. So the real way to do it is to pass in self. By passing in the Conan file itself, the helper is able to check more parameters and more options, since there's things like cross-building that I don't understand. We have a question in the chat. Is it mandatory to set settings, compiler settings? Oof. I'm not sure I understand your question, unfortunately.
I can say this one. So it's very much advised, because a lot of the integrations actually assume that they are defined. So while in Conan 1 we had instances where they weren't defined, right? Now what we advise is define them, and then if the package ID does not depend on them, just delete them from the package ID in the methods like we've shown here. It's mostly to do with the integrations. I think they're not actually like fully mandatory, but in ConanCenter we will enforce this for Conan 2.
Thank you very much, Julius, for that amazing answer. Julius is Lewis. We have lots of Lewises. So this Lewis, his nickname is Julius. In case anybody was wondering who I was referring to. So we're almost there. We're gonna try to get this one done a little quickly. So if I could do Control F over here, I should be able to just stick in copy. This is a function itself, and then a comma, and I can replace all of those. So those should work. This one already has pattern destination source, so that should be good. If I replace this with just the actual folder and not the subfolder properties that we used to do, that should be good. If I double check myself, source destination key path. All right, so I don't think I need to switch these, because I'm pretty sure I've seen a lot of places where they're backwards. If I click format, will I hate myself? Oh, I don't even have one installed. That's okay. So we'll do this the hard way. We'll do H, and we'll copy and paste, because I forgot a white space. Someone would definitely roast me in the comments. We have another one from William. We have if compiler is Windows. Ooh, yes. This is a great call out for 2.0 as well. This compiler is no longer going to exist in 2.0. So what we need to do is we need to import from Microsoft. Import is MSVC. So this cute little helper over here, which was somewhere, oh, here it is. This helper in 1.x actually knows about the old compiler and the new one, whereas in 2.0, it only knows about the MSVC compiler. So this we can get rid of. And then we only have one left, which is change directory. I actually don't know where this would be. Is it in files? Yes. So if I run our Conan create command one more time, actually, I don't want to build everything. I just want to build one thing. So while this is running, we're going to answer one more question and then wrap this up. If you remove the subfolder property you need to make sure to define a layout. I make this mistake all the time. So if there's no layout, then it doesn't actually know what the source folder self attribute is. No such file or directory. Hey, I got the same error message. Look at that. Fancy. Did I do something wrong? I'm not sure. We're out of time too. Let's see. Oh, we got a big question. Axel, if you are on the CPP Lang Slack, please drop it there and I will swing by afterwards to answer you. For the rest of you, thank you very much for joining us on recipe hacking number 2. I believe I asked in the email or the invite. Oh, I'm slouching too much. You can't even see me sitting here. I asked in the invite if you guys had any ideas for which plugins you wanted to see in the next recipe hacking. So feel free to drop that in the chat. And I will try to prepare myself so I can go over the plugins. The question I'm going to get right away is going to be, what are the plugins? What's new to? Why can I not find something when I want it? That's what I'm looking for. Meeting C++. More pages, please. Golly. So we have a handful of plugins that I recently deep dived through. So we have compatibility. So if you want to learn about binary compatibility with your settings, we have package signing, one of my favorites. Command wrapper. I'm not actually sure any practical examples of this one, but I would love to try to prepare myself. We have the profile plugin. And what else do we got? We got deployers. Deployers are another one if you want to learn about those. So if you guys have any requests for which plugin you'd like to see next, let me know and I'll definitely prepare myself for the next one. Deployers, right away, deployers. Oh, good choice. Thank you very much, everyone. It's always a pleasure. If you have any feedback you want to give me, you can find me on different socials. I'm like at Prince-ChrisMC on GitHub, _ if you're on Twitter, CPP Lang Slack. You can always find my email. It's all over my GitHub. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any advice. I'm definitely trying to learn how to make content. So anything you guys have for me is great. What else do we have? We have on Twitter at Conan_IO. If you want to get a hold of us there and follow what we're doing. So yeah, thank you very much. And I hope you guys enjoy either the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, your afternoon, whatever time zone you're in. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Chris. And thanks everyone for coming.